I've been looking at this Fair AI framework that my friend Origin has put up and did a little amplification of it. And I also ran it through its call to action, ran it through a couple of filters and asked for SWOT analyses. And that was pretty telling. I think, a lot of us have a lot of eagerness to change this world somehow. And we need to work together. We need to coordinate. We need to give people traction. And there's some good ideas out there. I have my doubts, of course, about our ability to really get anywhere. And that's somewhat distressing. See, Emilia has joined, Lost Vibes 100, Code of Reality has joined. Good to have you all with us on Substack. I really love Substack as a platform because it does allow these multimedia approaches. It allows us to share a lot of our work, whether it's our writing or whether it's our video or whether it's whatever it is. But I am concerned as the AI stuff goes on that a lot of us are going down rabbit holes and getting pretty excited about the possibilities. But, it's raking up shovelfuls of material, throwing them over the wall at us, well structured, well, articulated, but so often I think they're leading us down a garden path. In other words, they're doing the best they can to answer our questions. And in so doing, they also are trying to please us. And that I don't need a people pleaser. I need really solid, good research assistance. And to some extent, the prompts can give us that, but we have to engineer those prompts carefully. And even if we do that, we are so likely to get it because of the way it's trained to try to please people. We're likely to get the wrong answers. So these are some of my thoughts about AI. I do think a good type ethical framework is needed, the one that we all agree upon. I've made a few mock-ups myself of what I think ought to be done. I've also looked at the enterprise architecture of such things, also looked at how the mesh with robotics could come about. Mm, I think that's important because I do think that our technology needs to eventually be robust enough and trustworthy enough to take care of the planet and all species, not just ours, to clean up the environment, to undo a lot of the damage that our primate species, technologically enabled to overpopulate the planet, is doing to it. I think that's one of our big issues these days. When I arrived here, there were 3 billion people on the planet. And along comes, 2025, and we've got about 8.2 billion on the planet. Many of the 3 billion who were here when I arrived have left one way or another. Most of them have. And they continue to leave. We lost several people lately of note. And of course, we have wars going on that are thinning the herd, not massively by the standards of, billions of people, but still a lot of deaths, happening unnecessarily and violently. And I think, that kind of marks the soul to have a violent death in some ways. And I don't know about reincarnation. I'm really kind of skeptical about just about everything. I know what things seem like to me, but I also know my sensory apparatus, my ways of gathering information about the world are limited and distorting. And basically, I create the world I see in my head and project it out into the world. And whether my projections are accurate or not is anybody's guess. So I think about that a lot. I think we all need to think about that. I think we all need to second guess ourselves. I think we need to stand next to ourselves and question and try to form a clearer view of What's the most effective and efficient actions that we can take to make a better world for our descendants? There's a lot we could do. I mean, a lot has been done in the generations that have come along. We now have telecommunication abilities that allow us to basically shrink the world down and communicate across brain to brain around the world. Um, it's good to have 9 of you logging in here. Some of you are names I would recognize from past passing shows and live broadcasts. This is live from the bunker. And, it's a good life that we're leading here. We're very comfortable. Len and I, at the moment, I don't know that I can sustain it, but I'm doing the best I can to encourage people to become paid subscribers of Harrowings. And if that's not in the realm of possibilities, at least amplify the signal through the noise, because I do think we have something to say. I think we have something to encourage people to be the change you want to see in the world, to stay enthusiastic about living. I find myself going into highs and lows with it. I get to the point where I feel very enthusiastic and optimistic, and then I get to moments of despair. I can usually shuck off the despair by realizing, okay, just breathe. Just be. It's all right to just be. You don't have to constantly be doing. You don't have to be constantly generating content. I'm not seeing any comments coming in from any of our viewers, so I'm assuming that I'm not really sparking anything in your heads. I see a couple of B's from Vel Mergen. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. I'll have to look up your profile sometime. And, I don't know. I just know how it seems to me. Every cent spent, I believe, is a vote for the kind of world we are co-creating. We are subsidizing different things by choices we make, and if we make them consciously, we do good things. If we do them unconsciously, well, we'll just walking through our lives, sleepwalking through it all. I believe that most of us are doing that. We have much more capability than we realize. We can awaken ourselves and create a better, richer, fuller world if we're just willing to work at it, to get disciplined about it, to be conscious, to be present in the moment, and know that, the choices we've made have created the world we see. Collectively, we're not powerless here. I was told we were, but I don't think that that's true. I don't think we lack power. I think we have a lot of power to shift the needle a little bit, to do what I can call micro philanthropy, where by subscribing to others on Substack, I'm nudging the needle a little bit for them. Hopefully they can take what I've given and do something with it, do something positive with it, create a better world. I know it's emotionally moved a number of people. They've told me as much, but I'm not doing it to emotionally move them so much as I am to try to inspire them to keep going in the face of adversity, to be the change I want to see in the world. I know how much it means to me to have paid subscribers. I know how much it means to me to have any subscribers. But yeah, I think that we all need to read each other, to pay attention, to try to enrich the world to the extent we're able to. And we can reach out and touch people at a distance so easily, and hopefully for the better. I don't know. I just know how it seems to me, and I'm really hopeful that you all will see it similarly and get into action and do good things for this world, be good ancestors for our descendants. It's too dangerous a world for the youngsters coming up, I believe, and I can't imagine the world they'll be seeing. Hopefully they're brilliant and they're going to be doing great, but I think so many of them are going to be left in the dust. We also need to fix the poverty problem, right? We need to fix a lot of our problems and socially, but also environmentally. We just can't continue poisoning the planet. And so much of our consumption does that. We need to be conscious of it. I can see that, way I indulge my wife and her purchases and such, and mine too. that we aren't necessarily fulfilling that vision as well as we might. But at least I'm conscious of it, and then I can do something about it. If I'm not conscious of it, I can't do a thing about it. I could go on and often do, but it seems like not a lot's happening here. Laughing out loud, good man. Well, Wanda Jacobson, I don't really understand the comment. You want to expound on that before we leave? You can always comment on this later. I'm going to go ahead and post it. And, I hope that everyone has a good night, considers what they might do to change the world for the better, to be good ancestors for the descendants coming up, because God knows this is going to be a really challenging world to live in for a lot of them. And we've created it just that way.